expected to have capacity built in these areas. Now, let me also say categorically that you're a project management professional does not mean that you know or you should be the one handling every aspect of your project. No. As a project management professional, you can also go deeper to major in a particular area. Okay, and that's what I was trying to establish in the morning, that irrespective of the fact that we have CAPMP, we have LPMP or PMP as the case may be, we'll still have over 15 different courses, certifications in project management right now. So when you're done with this, you can still go ahead and deepen your knowledge and specialize in an aspect of project management. You can specialize in project construction, project business analysis, project portfolio management, project program management, project HR management, project risk, project quality, project data analysis and communication. There are different things you can specialize on based on your interest. So those areas will further give us technical advantage. Okay. Then the next one there is the leadership. Okay, we say the essence of leadership is to create direction, motivate the people, inspire them, and align the people to project objectives. So in case most of us that find ourselves in the engineering field will feel that leadership training is not for us. Most of us that find ourselves in medical field will feel that we got all the necessary skills we needed from our medical school. So leadership training is not for us. Management training is not for us. The only thing that is for us is our core area kind of training. No, as a project manager, you are expected to be vast. And in being vast, you're expected to know people and be able to manage them, lead them towards results. And then you talk about the strategic management and business management skills also. So here is more like strategic management and operations management, okay? And we've talked about how these two play their own role in project management, all right? So as a project manager, you need to have these competencies for you to function effectively. The technical project management skills are defined as the skills to effectively apply project management methodology to deliver the desired outcomes for programs or projects. Focus on the critical technical project management elements for each project they manage. Example, the schedule, selected financial reports, and issue log. Tailor both traditional and agile tools, techniques, and methods for each project. Make time to plan thoroughly and prioritize diligently. Manage project elements, including but not limited to schedule, cost, resources, and risk. These are technical areas in project management. The strategic and business management skill involve the ability to see the high-level overview of organization and effectively negotiate and implement decisions and actions that support strategic alignment and innovation. Project managers should in business terms be able to explain to others the essential business aspects of the project, work with the project sponsor team and subject matter expert to develop an appropriate project delivery strategy, and implement that strategy in a way that maximizes the business value of the project. On the strategy management, at a minimum, the project manager should be knowledgeable enough to explain to others the following aspects of the organization: the strategy, the mission, the goals and objectives, products and services, operations, the market, and the market conditions such as customers, state of the market, and time to market factors, and competition within the project environment or the business environment. So as a project manager, you're not just after execution of the project and delivery of the product. That product must have market relevance. Okay, that product must have market relevance. Okay. Your leadership skills involve the ability to guide, motivate, and direct a team. These skills may include demonstrating essential capabilities such as negotiation, resilience, communication, problem solving, critical thinking, and interpersonal skills. Projects are becoming increasingly more complicated, with more and more businesses executing their strategy through projects. Project management is more than just working with numbers, templates, charts, graphs, and computing systems. A common denominator in all projects is people. People can be counted, but they are not numbers. People can be counted, but they are not numbers. In personnel management, in the history of human resource management, which the father of human resource management is personnel management. And then if you go back, you talk about industrial revolution, industrial relations, and things like that. Now, in the era of industrial relations and personnel management, people were regarded as tools. People were regarded as tools. But in the era of human resource management, people are regarded as capital. Not just regarded as capital, but the primary capital. So that means without people, no organization can work. And there are different HR principles that have established the need for ever increasing quality of human capital. In the resource-based view, which every leader must have at the back of his hand, the resource-based view states that the quality of an organization is a function of the sum total of the qualities of the individuals in the organization. So the resource-based view is like telling us that whatsoever we see as a corporate image is a sum total of the individual images in that organization. Whatever we see as a corporate culture is a combination of all of the individual cultures within the organization. Whatever we see as excellence in the organization is a collection of the individual functions, individual excellence. So what does this mean to a leader? A leader must therefore pay attention to making sure that it has the right quality of people at the right time, at the right cost for the right projects. The right quality of people at the right time, at the right cost for the right project. This is very, very important. Sometimes a project manager might not have these people come in as finished products. You might not have them come in as human capitals. They might come in as talents. As talents, that means they have potentials. They have not become the real capitals that you need, but they have the potential. So it now calls for the attention of the project manager to make sure that those people are given the necessary support and training to make them become human capitals. This is very, very important. Now, project management processes. We'll look at the project processes, process groups, interactions, and mapping of project management processes. And we'll do that very fast. Project processes, our project management process is a series of interrelated actions and activities that are performed to achieve a pre-specified set of product results or services, which we regard in this case as deliverables. So the project management processes, they are the activities performed to achieve specified products, services, or deliverables. I spoke about breaking down projects into phases, into tasks, from phases to tasks, as the case may be. While you're doing that, you are introducing management processes, project management processes in doing that. How do I mean? When you're doing so, you're looking at the resources available, you're doing resource management, you're doing communication, you're doing strategy implementation or strategy management, you're doing a whole lot of management activities within the confines of breaking down the project, implementing the project, and having it delivered to its results. Those activities or those framework of activities that guide the implementation to deliver the results, those are the things we consider as the project activity. Now, sorry, the project processes. Now, let me make some clarification. Your project processes will include both actions and activities. Your project tasks most often will just have related activities that need to be done, or your project activities will be related tasks that need to be done. Okay, so your project processes could provide the procedure for which the project will be done, the policy background for which the project will be done. For your project tasks only gives you defined, doable actions that need to be done for you to deliver the result. So take, for instance, we want to let's take this class, for instance, now. The activities we have in this class, we have registration, we have training, we have examination, we have certification. These are considered as tasks, but there are management operations that take place or that went on to develop these processes. Okay, the management processes here will include administration. That is a management process. That's an organizational process that went through. You have marketing. Okay, you have human resource management, and a whole lot of other processes that went under to establish this training in the form of the breakdown. We've seen it as tasks. Okay, now there are 49 processes, project management processes. But I think we've exceeded this. We're about 50 something now. This is from the last edition, from the 7th edition of PMI. The 7th edition didn't really talk about management processes. So I think we're still within, we're still within boundaries. Okay. Project process categories. We have the project management process. I have the product-oriented processes. The project management processes describes, organizes, and complete the work of the project. The product-oriented process specifies and creates the project's product. So while the project management processes deal more with breaking down the work to what must be done to deliver to the project. So more of the works that need to be completed, the scope, the tasks that need to be completed. Okay, while the product-oriented is focusing on the product we want to see. So the product orientation gives you specification of the product, while the project management orientation tells you the tasks that must be done. So that's where I was trying to establish that one aspect of your project processes will establish standards, will establish policies, will establish framework for decisions on what kind of product to be designed. That is the product development phase. Okay, or that's the product development framework. Then you have the project framework where the activities now, the activities, the tasks that need to be done to complete the work or to get the product achieved is focused on. Now I have what we call the project process groups, and we have 5 of them, 5 process groups. We have the initiating process group that defines and authorizes the project of a project, that authorizes the project or a phase. And then you have the planning process group that defines and refines objectives and plans the course of action required to attain the objective and scope. You have the executing or implementation process group where we deal with integrating people and resources to carry out the project management plan for the project. Then we have monitor and control process, which measures and monitors progress to identify if the correction action can be taken to meet project objectives. And then we have the closing process group, which formalizes acceptance of the product, services, or results and brings the project or a project phase to an orderly end. These are the process groups involved in project management, and they are all interdependent. Okay, they are all interdependent. So from initiation, we'll move to planning. From planning, we'll move to project execution. From project execution, we'll go to closure. But in all of this, from initiation down to closure, there must be effective monitoring and control to make sure that the project is on point. And the same thing we have here, telling you how each one plays their role. So initiation starts from a point and ends at another point. Then planning starts from initiation and ends before close begins. And then execution runs from beginning to the end. Monitoring and control runs from beginning to the end. Okay. Now, process interactions. How do processes interact? Processes interact by a framework that takes inputs, that has tools and techniques to process the inputs to give an output. Project processes interact by a framework that takes input, has tools and techniques that processes the inputs to give out an output. All right. So inputs are the documents or documentable items that will be acted upon. Tools and techniques are mechanisms applied to the inputs to create the output. And this is where your technical competency as a project manager will be tested on the tools and techniques. Then the outputs are documents or documentable items that are a result of the process. Now, let's quickly take a look at project initiation processes. So let's quickly look at project initiation before we go. Let's look at the processes involved. By the time we come back next week, we'll also look at some of the tools and techniques and outputs involved in project initiation. Okay, so we'll have good understanding of all the elements involved there. Now, in the project initiation, or what we call the project startup, at the beginning of the project, these are the steps involved. To identify a business problem or opportunity, develop a business case. Remember that in the competencies of a project manager, business management is essential. So for every project that must be carried out, there must be justification from business perspective why that project must be carried out. And that justification is given in terms of business case. There must be strong, persuasive business case to justify that that project would deliver results. All right? Okay, then you have feasibility study. When you have developed your business case serves as a terms of reference to now undergo feasibility to verify that the business case can deliver. And after you're done with undertaking your feasibility studies, you then establish terms of reference for the initiation of the project. Terms of reference for the initiation of the project. And then from terms of reference, you go to appointing a project team, setting up a project management office, and then performing a phase or process review. What a phase or process review simply means is by the time we are done with the initiation of the project, we should be able to review. Remember that monitoring and evaluation runs from initiation down to close. So for every time we finish a phase, we need to review, we need to perform a phase review, process review to make sure that it is in line with what we want to achieve in terms of organizational goals and objectives. Now, what's a business case? A business case represents an optimum means of information used to judge whether the project is and remains desirable and achievable, and therefore worthwhile investing in. So your business case justifies if the investment is a good option. And then that particular business case, like I said, becomes a terms of reference for you to enter feasibility study to prove the business case. Okay? Developing the business case, a detailed definition of the problem or opportunity, an analysis of the potential solution options available. For each option, potential benefit, costs, risks, and issues are documented. A preferred solution is selected and agreed on. A business case approved by the project sponsor and required funding is allocated to proceed with the project. The key philosophies of a business case, it must drive the project. A business case must drive the project. No satisfactory business case, no project. If the business case is not satisfactory, then there will be no project. It must be maintained throughout the project. The business case must be made because that business case is the problem or the solution we are there to address. So it must be there, okay? Should justification, business need disappear during the project, then stop the project. Feasibility study. The purpose of the study is to assess the likelihood that a particular solution option, which is already in the business case, will achieve the benefits outlined in the business case, to investigate whether the forecasted costs are achievable, risks are acceptable, and or any likely issues are avoidable. Note, after the solution has been agreed, funding allocated, and the feasibility study performed, then a project is said to be formed. Establishing terms of reference or a charter. This is very, very important. Most often we carry out projects orally. We enter into project terms of reference orally. Please, it's important we define the terms of reference from the start. Your terms of reference should contain your vision, your mission, the basic elements of the project so that the project team will have an information about that. So your vision, the objectives, the scope of the project, the deliverable, the organizational structure, all of these need to be contained in the charter and the business case, of course. Appointing the project team. Once the terms of reference has been produced, the project manager is appointed. He or she documents a detailed job description for each project role and appoints a human resource to each role based on his or her relevant skills and experience. Setting up a project office. This can be physical or virtual environment within which the project team will be based. A successful project office environment consists of a location which could be physical or virtual, communications, computers, internet, radio, email, telephone, documentation like forms, registers, templates, methodology, processes. And then you have tools like computers, machines, equipment, satellites, software for counting, modeling, planning, and a whole lot of others. Now, when you are done with that and you're performing a phase review, your phase review from initiation to planning, okay, you've just completed your what do you call it now? You've completed your initiation following the process. So the next thing you're supposed to do is planning. But before moving from planning, for initiation to planning, you must make sure that the terms of reference or the project charter is well reviewed and it delivered according to the project before you go to talking about project planning. At the end of the initiation phase, a phase review, which is a monitor or control activities performed to check or ensure that this project stage or phase achieved its objectives successfully. Then we have the project planning. Project planning, a detailed planning to ensure that the activities in the execution phase of the project are properly sequenced, resourced, executed, and controlled. It is a means of defining and refining objectives and selecting the best of the alternative courses of action to attain the objectives that the project was undertaken to address. Note, brainstorming is a very important tool for effective project planning. Now, what are the processes involved? The project processes involved. We have create a project plan, create a resource plan, create a financial plan, create a quality plan, create a risk plan, create an acceptance plan, create a communication plan, create a procurement plan, create terms and reference for contractors, then perform your phase review. Okay. So this that we see on the screen, they are all the processes, the project processes involved in project planning. Okay, please take a look at this very well. This is where you're going to be developing your project from. Okay, this is the template for which you're going to use to develop your project. All right. Now, developing a project plan. Developing a project plan involves identifying, creating, and agreeing on a work breakdown structure, which is the scope, a hierarchical set of phases, sequenced activity, and tasks to be undertaken on the project. The WBS is accomplished by defining the scope of the project and breaking the work down into components that can be scheduled and estimated and easily monitored and controlled. Allocate resources to each activity and tasks and assemble detailed project schedule. For develop a resource plan, it involves a detailed resource allocation and assessment to identify types of resources, be it human, equipment, or material resources, total quantities of each resource type, roles, responsibilities, and skill set of human resource. And they have items, purposes, and specification of the equipment resource, items, purposes, and specification of material resources. All these are contained in the resource plan. Note, there are committed and proposed resources. Just as the names are, the committed resources are those that are already in use, while the proposed are those that have, we believe that they will be used, but they are not yet in use, so we propose them. Okay, then you have your financials. Identify the quantity of money required for each stage of the project, cost estimation. Quantify the total cost of labor, human resource, equipment, and material cost budgeting, and then assemble an expense schedule, which is an outline of forecast spending versus actual spending. Then you have your quality management plan or quality plan, where it defines what quality means in terms of project. So the project manager, having done a feasibility study, should be able to come up and define what quality means. Lists clear and unambiguous quality targets for each deliverable. Outline a plan of activities which will assure the customer that the quality targets will be met. That's the quality assurance plan. Then identifies the techniques used to control the actual level of quality of each deliverable as it is built, which is the quality control plan. They have developing the risk plan, which outlines the foreseeable project risks, outlines set of actions to be taken, formulated to both prevent each risk from occurring and reduce the impact of the risk should it happen. That is risk identification and risk response planning. Risk monitoring and control as well. Then develop acceptance plan. Your acceptance plan provides and outlines the criteria for obtaining customers' acceptance, assembles a schedule of acceptance reviews within which customers' acceptance will be sought, using acceptance form to review the deliverables produced and the level of customer satisfaction, which we regard as the bottom line. Each deliverable must meet or exceed customers' requirement. That's the bottom line of the acceptance. Okay, it must meet or exceed customers' requirements. Communication plan. To create a communication plan means identify how each of the stakeholders will be informed, identifying the types of information to be described, identifying the methods of distributing information to stakeholders, identifying the frequency of distribution, and the responsibilities of each person in the project team for distributing information regularly to stakeholders. In the procurement plan, it provides a detailed description of the products, that is goods and services, to be procured from suppliers. It provides justification for procuring each product externally and not internally from project team. Provides a schedule for procurement. Okay, so it provides a schedule for procurement, identifies the process of selection of a preferred supplier, that's the tender process, and then identifies the process for the actual order and delivery of the procured products. That's the procurement process. Now, under the procurement process, we have the tendering process. When we get to the lead level, we have the contract management. We have procurement and contract management as a module on its own, where we'll look at different kinds of contracts, bidding process, contract documents, and all of those things. We'll be looking at them. Now, in the tendering process, the identification of interested suppliers and selecting a preferred supplier to meet the procurement needs. Suppliers are appointed and contracted through a tender process involving creating a statement of work, requesting for information from each potential supplier, choosing a preferred supplier, agreeing on a supplier contract for the delivery of the requisite product. So those are the activities involved in the tender process. Creating a statement of work, requesting for information from each potential supplier, choosing a preferred supplier, then agreeing on supplier contract for delivery of the requisite process. Now, when you're done with the planning phase and moving to the project execution phase, you also perform a phase review, which in this case will be a review on project plans that you've done. The project plans here will include your resources, the plans on your resources, financial, risk, communication, procurement, acceptance, quality, and contract. Okay. Okay. I'm making sure that I don't exceed the expected time. Okay, so I still have a little time. Project execution process. It involves coordinating of people and other resources to carry out the project team, characterized by the physical construction of each deliverable by the project team and presentation to the customer for acceptance, and monitoring and controlling of activities, resources, and expenditure by the project manager, required throughout the execution phase to ensure that the customer's requirements are met. Now, in the project execution phase, it contains all the other management processes involved. So we have the building of the deliverable, which is done by the project team. Then you have the monitoring and control, which is done by the project manager. Now, this monitoring and control will be built on monitoring and controlling the risk, the schedule, the quality, the scope, the integration, resource, procurement, communication, cost, and stakeholder. All these people and all this community of people will be put together alongside assisting the project manager to deliver to the project. So when it comes to project execution, like I always say, it's a teamwork. It's not just the project manager that does that. So when you are done with the designing, the planning as a project manager, your work becomes more like supervisory. Okay, you supervise the team to deliver the results. Now, building deliverables require physical construction of each deliverable by the project team. Note, the actual activities undertaken to construct each deliverable will vary dependent on type of project. Example, engineering, building development, computer infrastructure, business process, or events. The construction of the deliverable will be dependent on the type of project you're carrying out per time. Monitoring and control. While the project team are physically producing each deliverable, the project manager implements a series of management processes grouped as knowledge areas to monitor and control the activities being undertaken. They include the time management processes, risk, cost, quality, communication, procurement, integration, scope, human resource, stakeholder, and a whole lot of others. Now, when we get to the lead level, each of these will become a module. And each of the modules can take us up to 3-4 hours to deal with them. Okay, each, like dealing with time management, can take us the whole day, can take us up to 6-8 hours. Okay, cost management can take us the whole day as well. Okay, human resource can take us the whole day. Integration will definitely take us the whole day. So while we are laying the foundation of project management as associate managers, these are things you need to know and be abreast of. But when you get to the point of becoming an advanced project manager, you need to understand these elements, the knowledge areas in total, technically and in every way. Monitoring and controlling projects. The project objectives are made by monitoring and measuring progress regularly to identify variances from plan so that corrective actions can be taken when necessary. Monitoring activities include integrated change control, quality control, scope change control, cost control, schedule control, performance reporting, and so on and so forth. And when you're done from project execution and you want to go to closure, then you also perform a phase review. Here, you perform a phase review on the products, services, to make sure that they conform with what the plan has originally said. Now, in the project closure, the project closure involves formalizing acceptance of the project or phases and bringing it to an orderly end. A successful project will have met its objective and be ready for formal closure only when the deliverables have all been completed and accepted by the customer, or when it is clear and established that the objectives can no longer be met, then we can close the project. And after you're done, also you perform a phase review to be sure that you are on track. Performing project closure will involve a series of activities like assessing whether the project completion criteria has been met, identifying any outstanding items like activities, tasks, risks, issues, resources, producing a handover plan or schedule to transfer to the customer, communicating closure to all stakeholders and interested parties, listing the activities required to handle documentation, cancel supplier contracts, and release project resources to the business. Note, These activities make up the project closure report or the project closure document, which is submitted to the customer and or the project sponsor for approval. Reviewing the project completion. Review of the overall success of the project by an independent resource who can be an auditor is essential. Process is determined by how well the project performed against the defined objectives and conformed to the management processes outlined in the planning phase. The project is closed only when all activities identified in the closure report have been completed. To determine performance, the following questions are asked. Did it result in the benefit defined in the business case? Did it achieve the objective outlined in terms of reference? Did it operate within the scope of the terms of reference? These are questions you need to ask to check for performance. Did the deliverables meet the criteria defined in the quality plan? Was it delivered within the schedule outlined in the project plan? Was it delivered within financial plan? All these are questions that you ask to check for performance. Now, to check for conformance, a review is undertaken of the level of conformity of project activities to the management process outlined in the quality plan. Note, results of the review, key achievements and lessons learned are documented in a post-implementation report and presented to the project sponsor for approval. In quick summary, project management is the application of skills, tools, and processes for the effective execution of the project. The project constraints will have time, scope, and budget. However, others can include risk and quality. PM, project management has 5 process groups. We have initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, control, and closure. Project management has 10 knowledge areas: time management, risk management, cost, quality, communication, procurement, integration, scope, human resource, and stakeholder management. A project is closed only when all deliverables have been completed and accepted by customer. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. That is all for our first class.